It's mail day. How exciting. So here's a bunch of stuff, but we're going to go through them one by one. We're going to do the mail day thing. But before we do, let's roll that intro. Hey Gengar Gang, what is going on? My name is Ryan, this is the Analytic Gengar, and welcome to another video, friends. In today's video, we have a mail day consisting of a variety of random cards that I am super excited to show you guys. Why am I doing this? Well, in case you are curious or you have been not necessarily monitoring the market right now, there are a ton of graded trading cards floating around on the internet. And as a result, there are a ton of graded trading cards that are currently out there available for sale. Said a little bit differently, it's a great time to be a buyer and a really bad time to be a seller because everybody submitted their stuff, even if it wasn't with PSA or BGS or CGC. And as a result, now finally those cards are coming back to us. And as a result, many people are trying to sell them. They never really had much of an intention to hold them. That creates a unique opportunity for folks like myself who are looking to purchase cards and build collections. And even better, if we can do that at a lower price than, the prices right about the all-time highs from 2021. So all things considered, it's a really great time to be a buyer. And yeah, I've been casually bidding on and scooping stuff up as I have kind of seen it pop up and become available to me. So with that said, today I think we have cards from literally like 3 different grading companies, which is actually pretty funny. So I'm actually going to start off with probably the most simple and straightforward one. Here is a Altaria from Power Keepers. So why did I buy this card? Nothing specific. It is a really nice PSA 9, and I love the swirl that it has right here. So that's really my main reason for scooping this card up. As many of you know, I am a big EX era collector, and so anytime I get a chance to scoop a card up like this, realistically, it's just a very simple and straightforward thing for me to do. So it's less about all of the craziness or anything of the sort, and it's more just, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and pick this up. Might not be my most favorite card, but I paid $31 plus $4 in shipping, so $35, not including taxes for this card. And yeah, given that I claim to be such an EX era collector, I do love the holographic pattern and just the cards themselves, so I do very frequently go out of my way to scoop these up when I get a chance to do so. Couple of things. There's like this weird gross thing right there. That's not on the card itself, by the way. That's just on the case. If you're a seller of Pokemon trading cards, and I make this statement quite a few times over, but clean your cards up before you send them out. I understand if like this is a one-off kind of thing, but just from a presentation perspective, it just never looks good. Personally, whenever I get a PSA graded card from a third party, meaning not from PSA, but I bought it from someone else, what I will actually go through the process of doing is sanitizing it with alcohol. So I will usually get a clean microfiber cloth, wipe it down, and then put it in a sleeve that I have purchased so that it matches the remainder of my collection. So yeah, just a random thing, but yeah, as a seller, you probably don't want to put that out there. So next up, I have a bunch of Dark Magician girls, go figure. The first is this Beckett 9.5, actually, sorry, 9.5. So this is Dark Magician Girl, the Dragon Knight. It's the fusion card. And as you can see, a really, really nice card. I love the way the holo hits the Dark Magician Girl itself. And as you can see, really cool the way they went about that. This card, I won an auction for $256. So this was a 9.5. It kind of fell somewhere in between a 9 and a 10, as most Beckett 9.5s do. It's worth more than a 10, but it's not a 10 from Beckett, obviously, right? So interestingly enough, the subgrades on this, it's a 9.5, a 9.5, and a 9.5 for centering, corners, and edges. The surface apparently has the defects, and yeah, just for point of reference, like the back is super cool, super crisp, super minty. So it's probably something with that holographic pattern that caused this card to not get the full 9.5 on the surface as well. It's probably a scratch somewhere or the other, but a super cool card. Blame Rhymestyle for the amount of Dark Magician girls you have seen on this channel recently. He basically inspired me when I was watching some of his videos to get into Dark Magician Girls. I saw the first one, I was like, yo, that's a cool card, and then magically I was all in on the Dark Magician Girl flow, so that's one of those cards. The other card that I won in the auction is a gold rare Dark Magician Girl. So here is the card. Shout out to the seller. So he included this card, and I would definitely recommend checking out his store. Aaron, I can't say about his other transactions, but what I will say is that these cards were very well packaged, and these cards were outstandingly packaged. He really made use of bubble wrap and stuff to really securely ship these cards. So much respect to him, much love to him. Definitely go check him out if you're in the market for anything. Now this card is an interesting one. Centering was a 10, so this card is apparently perfectly centered. It's one of the reasons why you would want to get your cards with subgrades, whether they be with CGC or BGS. And that's mainly because you do get those subgrades, which is a valuable item. And you can see everything else is a 9.5. So I have a feeling that if I were to go ahead and cross this card with PSA, there's a very high chance, higher than the Dark Magician Girl the Dragon Knight one, that this card would cross to be a PSA 10. A couple things to note about this card. Paid $561 for it, which is obviously a new price on anything that I've seen. Even the PSA 10s, there haven't been many sold recently that they would reflect it, but I do really, really like this card. It's a very simple card, so it's obviously just the Dark Magician Girl, but you do get like that heart shape in the background, which is a unique artwork for her. And then I really like the way they did the gold too. So you can see the gold is like a little sparkly, a little crazy, and then those gold edges. So a really, really nice card. Was super happy to pick one of these up just for the collection in general. I have slowly but surely turned into a bit of a Dark Magician Girl collector. Nothing serious. I don't think I'm going to go after anything crazy regarding that particular character. But, these $500 or $600 cards are likely to be something that would have or could have been worth several $1,000s during the all-time high, and we'll probably see that price go up because she is a waifu card, which means very frequently she ends up being subject to the waifu tax. Finally but not least is a ghost rare from Second Haunting. So this set I recently opened up on the channel, and I saw one go up for sale, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'll bite, I'll take it. So here's what it is. The reason I haven't taken it out yet is because I do want to shout out Metal Ore Shop. Hit them up. They were able to work out a really cool deal with me, so I did want to just throw their thing up there. And you're right, she is a beauty. I will definitely enjoy this card in my collection. So interestingly enough, the other thing that I wanted to talk a little bit about today as I went through this mail day is what's really good with this particular grading brand itself. So this is AGS, and you can see it right here. But first, let's take a look at that beautiful, beautiful card. In particular, I really, really messed with this card because it's really, really nice. Like this particular card, I thought looked like on a good day you might be able to get this by as a 10. And you can see here how absolutely gorgeous a card this is. So obviously tons to appreciate about this card. It's a really, really nice card. I have not yet pulled one, but I have been doing my absolute best to acquire as many boxes of Ghosts from the Past so that in the future, should I ever want to go hunting, I'm able to do so. And you can see what the mass appeal of this card is. So this graded a 9 with AGS, which stands for Automated Grading Systems. So it's not even like services or anything like that. This is a company that claims to be able to grade trading cards 100% automated. So they use an artificial intelligence program that scans the card, reviews each and every single pixel, and then delivers a grade based on its algorithm. And that algorithm has obviously been trained via, a bunch of other cards, right? So presumably CGC, BGS, and PSA, they got a whole bunch of those cards, took the grades, trained the algorithm on those grades, and then by law of averages, they train the AI to be able to tell you, hey, this is a 9 because after much review, here's what I saw and here's what I identified with this card that makes me think it's a 9. And that's how they've been going about grading their trading cards. Now, I plan on doing a follow-up video already based on this because, shockingly enough, this isn't the first AGS card that I have. I actually bought 3, as these are my first cards, but this isn't the only one I own. There's now 2 sitting over there that will be shown in today's video. And so what I thought was really interesting was that there's this new grading company that claims to be able to do this. So couple things that I note right off the bat: this particular slab isn't in the best of conditions. There's like a ton of scuffing and scratching over here, which I could care less about, honestly, as long as the card is in good shape. And honestly, the card looks amazing. There's a really good look at the card, so absolutely love it. It's really well centered too, which I think is a big thing. Centering has been a pain for these cards, and so too has the image shift. As many of you remember, I pulled a Blue Eyes and it was off by a couple of millimeters. So to have this card look as good as it does, and look at that, it even looks 3D. I think this is pretty cool. I think this card I might end up cracking out of the slab if I can justify it, and then regrading it with PSA to see what it gets. But a gorgeous card. I'm super excited to see what the future holds. One other thing I want to note that Collecticon 2022 item right there. We'll circle back to that in a minute. How much did I pay for that card? Well, I paid $455.69 for it. That was a best offer that I made. I do realize some PSA 9s have sold for less, but I am super curious to kind of see, because sometimes I don't just look at sales history, I look at the individual card itself in order to make a judgment. And I think in this particular case that was merited, given the fact that it was a really good looking card. It was well centered and it didn't look like it had any kind of hollow shift. And so far, I've been proven right. Additionally, there's a hair. That's just lovely. Yucky. Here is a Swampert. So again, EX card, random. I literally didn't even pay that much for this card. I believe I paid $14 plus $1.25 shipping. This is from Ruby and Sapphire, so it's a little bit earlier. You can see that plus is something unique with some of the older versions of the holographic from the EX era. But I think it's a really cool card. Bear in mind, Ruby and Sapphire is effectively the base set of Generation 3. And so it's some of the first time we are seeing some of the Generation 3 Pokemon, including the water type starters, Final Evolution, Swampert. So really cool card. This one graded a 4.5. The reason I believe it got that grade is because right over here, you can see, if I can get it to focus, a nice crease right on the top of the card. So it looks like for no particular reason, that crease, at least with PSA, what I've noticed is a crease usually immediately puts you into 5 category. So the minute you have a crease on a card, the highest grade it can get by definition is a 5. And I'm sure CGC, BGS, and SGC have similar agreements on that. And so that plus the number of scratches plus the whitening on the back of this card, which you can see is light but fairly consistent around the entire edge, is likely the reason it got the grade that it did. Really cool to think, again, that a AI robot of some sort is the reason why this card got the grade that it did and not a grader. You can also see relatively low cert number, and the reason for that is because AGS is a new company. Now, bear in mind, I am in no way affiliated with them, so I have no clue how good or bad they are, but I purchased a few cards just to kind of see, get my hands on it, and I can do a separate video, and I plan on doing that, regarding the AI aspect of all of this. But all things considered, I will say it's a pretty nice slab. Honestly, holding it right next to a PSA slab, Obviously, the slab is quite a bit smaller, both ways, I believe. Yeah, so I think it's safe to say PSA has just a larger size slab. I do like how clean it is, though. So if you notice, there's no frosting on the edges over here, as opposed to the PSA slab, which does have that frosting. So that's a stark comparison. I do think where they go wrong is maybe the color of their slab, though. Or rather, the label within the slab. It looks official, don't get me wrong. There's just something about having like multiple colors and like the watermark for the PSA one that I think helps PSA's label stand out. The back, you can see, is almost identical in sort of layout, right? Over on the left-hand side, you have the logo, then you have like another logo of sorts, and then you have the QR code, which brings you to a page. I believe the AGS slab will have that QR code will link to a little bit more information, and of course you have the cert number. Now recall a little bit earlier I showed you this slab, which was graded at Collecticon, so you can see something really interesting here. You have the Collecticon slab over here, and then you have the regular slab, which does not have that designation. So another really interesting or cool thing is the fact that they do markate like, hey, where they graded it. You can see they stack very well together, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, other than that, I mean, they're a little bit smaller, but I think they're pretty cool for what they are in terms of the slab design. The merits of the grading, however, I think could still be sussed out just a little bit more. Obviously, these cards, just one more time to point out, this is in the 12,000s, this is in the 18,000s, so they are slowly getting up there in terms of overall number of cards. You know, I would presume at this point they've definitely hit 20,000, because I couldn't tell you when these got printed or graded. But here's the last card that I purchased. So this is a beautiful EX Unseen Forces. This one I paid $57 for, so it was a $53 auction plus shipping. And this is a beautiful card. I think EX Unseen Forces has some of the straight up best EX cards in the history of the entire era. This Celebi being one of them, and also that Lugia being another one of them. And of course, I did go for the Swirly Boy, because as Charizard King says, swirls get girls. But this is just another absolutely gorgeous card. I was a huge fan of this when I saw it, primarily because of the swirl. The grade, absolutely tragic 4.5. Why? Funny enough, I've reviewed this card a few times, and it's not the surface. Many times with cards like these, because this graphical border is holographic, it will get absolutely shredded. But funny enough, two things. One is the back. The back is not ideal, so you can see, yeah, so you can see it's you know, it's busted up in some places. It's certainly not the cleanest card I've ever seen. The other major issue with this card is right here. So, so right here, you can see right by my thumb, there is a line. That is a crease. So that is a very, very slight crease that has caused this card to get the grade that it did. And so, yeah, a 4.5 for, like, you know, I think this card could have pulled a 7 without that crease, which is heartbreaking if you think about it. But yes, friends, that is the cards that I pulled out for today's mail day. There's my thumbnail, I think, right there. Yeah, nice. But yeah, so that's the story of AGS. Personally, I like the slab design. It's pretty cool. I do think at the end of the day, I'm probably going to end up breaking many of these slabs, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Don't forget Altaria. But with all that said, friends, thanks again for checking out another video. Definitely leave a like down below if you liked today's video. And hey, if you're not already, consider subscribing in order to become part of the Gengar Gang. It's a great way to support the channel, help the community continue to grow, etc., etc. Also, let me know, what do you think of some of the pickups I made today? Do you think they were good? What do you think of AGS grading? Follow-up video to come, obviously, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on the topic right now in reaction to the video, as obviously they have made it onto the market and eBay sellers are starting to pump their stuff out. But with all that said, friends, thanks again for checking out another video. I hope you guys are having an amazing day, and we will talk soon. Peace.